The first 6 deals we did made us $520K, $86,000 per deal. That's an extra $300,000. Is a $30,000 deal good or bad? My answer is hard to tell. And so that's why it's really important to put a target profit on every deal you do. The point's true. Smallest deals are always the hardest to close. All right, guys, today in this video, I'm gonna be talking to you about why cash buyers are completely killing your business. Because these quick metrics right here, where we have 130K profit per year on 20 deals, was what selling to cash buyers looked like. And then this one in the green, $680,000 profit on 20 deals, is what not selling to cash buyers looks like, right? And so this video is for anyone who's basically not exclusively selling to a retail buyer, or for anyone who has an average deal size of less than 30,000, right? Because cash buyers are costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional profit for each year. So let me show you what I mean, right? If I have 20 deals that I'm doing each year, and I have an average deal size of 10K, $70,000 marketing, $3,500 cost per deal, right? Pretty simple. Then I make 130 grand, a little over 10K a month. That's great living. Now, if I sell these same deals, but I just change the buyer, change the person who's purchasing these properties, just have a better strategy, right? Make a better business model. Then I can go and take the same 20 deals, make me $750,000 in revenue on the same 70K. And that's going to profit 680 grand, $500,000 more in my pocket. So I don't know about you guys, but that's definitely worth listening to and learning about what I can do, like one skill I can learn to be able to do that. So look, guys, my name is chandlersaine. I built a portfolio of wholesale companies that does 150K a month in profit. And I built my single wholesale company $3 million per year by the age of 23. So if you guys want to scale, but can't, for whatever reason, break past your ceiling, it's largely because of your disposition strategy and deal size. And so when my deal size was 17,000 and it went to 35,000, my business simply doubled. I didn't close less deals. I didn't contract less deals. I just made more profit on each one individually, right? And so the crazy part was before I figured this out, I was completely tapped and couldn't actually scale. I couldn't scale because I couldn't grow marketing because I would be unprofitable. I had the mindset of, well, a $2,500 deal is just better than no deal. And I would just take the first buyer's offer to just get the deal closed. But the worst part, and I'm sure you guys can resonate with this, is the smallest deals are always the hardest to close. One time we made $500 on this deal, and dude, I swear I jumped through more hoops than the clown at this freaking circus just to close, right? Title issues, sellers renegotiating, buyers backing out, the whole nine. You guys know how it works. This business is crazy, but there's no like money in it, like, right? It's all this work just to make $500. Obviously, this is an exaggerated example. We're doing a favor to the seller, but the point's true. Is small deals are harder. The big deals, you make 100K on it. That was 10K a year. We can get that problem solved with money. It's not a problem, right? Bigger deals are easier to do. Once I started selling my deals to retail buyers, everything for me changed, right? My deal size went from 17 to 35. Literally, just only thing we changed was who was the person purchasing the property. And like one of the things I get asked all the time, and like this is like a common misconception and why I know like this is a major problem in the industry, is people ask me all the time, it's like, what % of ARV do you use when you underwrite your wholesale cash offer? And my answer is always like, man, I don't. It's because I just underwrite it at my cash offer to buy the house myself and wholetail it, right? So it's like, I'm buying this house to flip it, right? Now, if you're just getting started in this, is that the thing that you should do? Maybe, maybe not, right? It's up to you and based on your skills and all this kind of stuff. But if you've been doing deals and you're still just always wholesaling as default, you're leaving tons of money on the table, right? So I always underwrite it to buy myself because then I can sell to a retail buyer and that's it. Super simple. Because you can do the same thing. You can buy the house with $0 out of your pocket, even if it's your first time ever buying the house, because you can go and raise a second position. If you guys have questions about that, like DM me, right? Go figure it out. There's tons of YouTube videos online of like how to raise private money. It's, this is not a video about private money, but if you are going to purchase a $300,000 home and you get 75% down payment, that's $250K. You got to raise $50,000 to go and do the deal. That's really not that hard. You can talk to a few friends and family. You can go get lines of credit from your bank. You can go and get a line of credit from QuickBooks, from whatever platforms you use. I guarantee you get the credit. You can figure it out. Credit cards will give you a loan, all this kind of stuff. You can go get the money to do it. And plus, hopefully you have a little bit of money saved up for the project, but you shouldn't be able to, you don't have to put in any money. The actual security of the whole private money thing is really easy. Just go ask your attorneys, go ask your title company, how do I secure a lender on a property? Oh, it's easy. Security deed of trust and promissory note. That's all you need. Just get one for your state and you're good to rock. What I want to show you is how you can actually make an additional $500,000 in the 20 deals that you do per year with just one tweak of who you're selling it to, right? And so the traditional cash buyer method is 20 deals at 10K a pop. That's what I see for most people. Maybe you have 15K and maybe this is $300,000. Good for you, make a little bit more money. That's fantastic. The point that I'm still going to prove is that the retail buyer method is 15 MLS wholesales at $30,000 a pop equals 450K. That's a lot more. Now we got 5 wholesales at a minimum. This is an absolute minimum. I will not do it for less than that. It's $50,000. It's 250K. That's 700 grand. So doing the math there, I'm like, whoa, $500,000 difference. So let's calculate the changes in profit. Because again, everything that I care about is how much profit am I making at the end of the day? Revenue's vanity, profit's sanity, cash is king. right? So profit is sanity. How much profit am I making from this strategy? My total marketing spend is going to be about 3.5K per deal. That's just the average, what we're at right now. That's $70,000. I'm going to pay 15% commissions if I have a sales team. So that's going to be a little variable expense of 15%. And then my other expenses are going to be 5 to 10K. It's going to be other fixed costs that I have in the business, right? So that's essentially it. So with the traditional cash buyer method, it's 200K. That is my revenue, minus my 70,000 marketing, minus my $30,000 in commissions. Now you probably don't have a closer at this point, so you can just add that into net profit, which would take this number up a little bit. And then you have $5,000 in other expenses, whether that's education, whether that's software, whether that's travel, food, whatever it is. It's another 5K a month probably. You maybe have an admin, a couple of admins on your team, whatever. You're making $125,000 a year. Again, great living. Now, what I want to show you is with the retail buyer method, we got 700K revenue, 70K marketing, because it stays the same. It's crazy. Then you have 105K in commissions. Pay out a lot more commissions, right? And then we got, let's just say because you're a bigger business, you have $10,000 in other miscellaneous expenses. That is $515,000 in net profit. That's a 5X. Pretty good. Not too bad. And this is not theory. So what I'm going to show you right here is when I opened up a new market in Dallas, Texas, the first 6 deals we did made us $520K, 86,000 profit per deal. Is that good? Yeah, it's fantastic, right? It's really great. The common theme between all 6 of these deals is they were all sold to retail buyers. And so at the end of the day, if I sold these same deals to cash buyers, I would have made maybe 200 grand, right? They're all great deals, but even like at 30K a pop, which is a great assignment fee, that's $180,000. That's a fantastic fee. And that's in reality what we probably would have about made is 180 grand. But instead we made 86K per deal and we made 520. And that's an extra $300,000 on 6 deals. That's 6 right there. All because we sold to retail buyers. And so at the end of the day, there's really, in my belief, only 3 things that you can actually do to increase your average deal size. Number 1, you can buy deals for less, which is, I believe, the hardest one. Now you would need to focus on it, but it's still the hardest one to do, to just buy deals cheaper. Number 2 is you can work in a better market, which I think is like medium hard difficulty. There's logistics in it. You got to pick the right one. You got to learn it, etc. Number 3 is going to be selling properties for more. And in my opinion, this is the easiest one because you should learn a couple of skills in your current market. You should get a little bit better, maybe having a strategy to monetize this deal more effectively, make a better business model. And so I'm not here to talk to you about sales in this video. I'm not going to teach you, say this to the seller and they're going to immediately sign the contract. Like, no, that's not how things work. But what I am going to show you is how you can sell your properties for the most money possible and how you can build a process that allows you to acquire them for cheaper. And so there's 2 main core ways that we're actually able to do this, to sell properties for more. Basically, we can wholesale them, sell them to a retail buyer on the MLS. And look, this is not actually that complicated. I know if you haven't done this, 50% of all the people we're selling to are cash buyers. So a lot of your transactions are still very simple double closes. The other portion of those are all conventional for the most part. 40% of all the deals are conventional. You can double close conventional as well. If you don't know how, message me. I can help you out with that. And then another 10% is FHA or VA, right? But that's like, you don't have to accept those offers. You don't always get those. So it's not super complicated like a lot of people think. The other one is wholetailing. And wholetailing is the best way because you actually own the property you have. It's like so easy if you buy it at the right price, right? You're just making the property live and ready, putting a little bit of lipstick on the pig. You know what I mean? Getting it ready for someone to live in. If you do that, you open the buyer pool to the biggest masses, and you can take a $20,000 deal and you make it a $60,000, $70,000 deal. It's fantastic. One of my favorite strategies. Now, it works best in a better market, right? If you have 10 months to supply and 700 days on market, it's not going to work very good in a market like that. But if it's, something that's reasonable, 2-3 months of supply, 4 months of supply, days on market 30-60, works pretty well there. Cool. How does this process work from a high level? Right? First thing we're going to do is we have 3 MAOs. So we're going to establish these MAOs when we underwrite the property on the sales call. So we're going to have a first offer max. That's the most that we can offer for our first offer. We have a cash offer max, which is the most we're willing to pay for the property with our no access terms is what we basically call it. It's like our best terms, right, for the seller, where we can come in and we can give you a hassle-free, no obligation type offer, right, where we only got to come to the property twice. That's it. That's our cash offer max. Then we have the third offer, which is our MLS offer max. It's basically a cash offer with terms, essentially, is how it works. Like we just need access to the property to show it to our retail buyers. So these guys are going to come out to the property, maybe 2-3 times a week, something like that. We're going to basically start at 4, then we're going to work down in our expectations to 2 times a week is like the expectation. And basically, we're not going to live there. We're going to let you know, blah, 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 all those different types of things. But it's just a cash offer with a process, essentially. But the difference is for us to get you more money, to go from our cash offer at 200 to go up to the 240 number that's really important to you, I don't know if we can do it, but we'd have to be flexible with kind of the terms of the agreement, right? With having some access to the property. And then you got to explain all that kind of stuff, right? But once we go through that, is we're going to give them a low, these are us having our MAOs in line. So we now know exactly like what our max offers are. So I go into the call as a salesperson very confident that I know exactly what I can pay. And so I'm going to negotiate a little bit harder. Number 2 step is we're going to be giving our low cash offer, 40K below what we'd actually buy the house for. It's our first anchor. We can go lower, of course. Number 3 is we're going to slowly work up our cash MAO to our cash MAO. And then if they want more than that, we'll go slowly up to our MLS offer MAO. And all these MAOs are very important to know is that my cash offer MAO, I'm making about 15 to 20% on the sale price. That's about the number, give or take. It ranges, right? But it's about 15 to 20%. For the MLS offer, I want to make 35. And so that's how we build our offers. So we know we're going to make a good profit on it no matter where we're at. But we slowly work our way up. Once we work our way up to where the sellers wants, then we're negotiating between, the MLS offer and the cash offer, depending on what the seller wants. So if the seller wants a really simple close, they want to do it in 14 days, the kind of thing. It's like, we can do that, but it's going to be at a different number than otherwise stated, right? It's going to be at the number that the first one I talked about, not the higher one. And we can kind of work between the two. And this is going to be a way that you get deeper discounts and then also have people work with your process, right? It's because they're picking to work with you between 2 options. It's very important. Not between yes and no, right? We all know picking between 2 options is a picking between 2 things, whereas one option is either this option or no. So the 5th step is a low cash offer. And so basically kind of just exactly what I explained is the 5th step is just like explaining that like our cash offer is something for the seller who needs something quick with less walkthroughs, and the MLS offer, which is a higher price, is something if the seller kind of values price more, a little bit more flexible with access to the property, and they have a little bit more time to close. Once we do that and we kind of agree on all the terms, we get the contract signed. Now it comes down to dispo, and this is where you really need the right guidance because you could 100% screw this up and definitely lose money. And so what we will do is anytime we get a contract, we underwrite it as if we were going to do an MLS wholesale or a wholetail, right? So we're going to look at both options. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually pick the strategy that makes us the most money. Then we execute it. Something I want to say that's really, really important is people are always like, and this is something that you should do in your business for sure, is people are always like, man, how do I know if it's my acquisitions team locking up bad deals or my dispo team not doing a good job? And the thing that it comes down to is you need to have a acquisition manager target profit when you lock the deal up. Say the acquisition manager says $50,000, like banger of a deal. Then dispo gets it and they're like, they get the pictures and we're like, man, it's like a 20K deal, maybe. Okay, 20K is not a bad deal, but it's not a $50,000 deal. And so that misalignment between acquisitions and dispo needs to be fixed. Whereas sometimes what happens if you put a dispo underwriting target profit in there, let's say it's 30K. And this is the question where I ask a lot of people, it's like, is a $30,000 deal good or bad? And a lot of people say, yes, it's good. And my answer is hard to tell. I need more information because a $30,000 deal is only good if I thought I was going to make $30,000 on the deal and I ended up making 30K. But it's really bad if I thought I was going to make 60 and I made 30. Right? And so that's why it's really important to put a target profit on every deal you do, because when you pick the strategy, I always reflect every month to look at the deal and say, did we do everything we could have in this deal to hit target profit? Like, what did we do wrong? Because sometimes you just underwrite it. And that's great. You learn that and you adapt and become better for next time. But other times there's slippage in the actual process that caused this profit to leak out of the deal. And you got to tighten that up right away. Because if we're a realtor and we're using realtors to sell a property, and this is 100% my objection against realtors. But if we're using realtors to sell a property, the thing for them is $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 is really nothing, right? They get compensated. Let's just say they're getting 1% because you have a good deal with them, right? They're getting like, what is it? $30 for 300. So $3,000, they're getting $300. No, they're getting $30 for $3,000. They don't care about $3,000. Like not even a little bit. They're not going to negotiate for that. But if you're dispo person, or if you're negotiating and it's the difference between, 3,000 and 1,000 or 3,000 and no 1,000 that you're giving up on the transaction, you're going to keep that money in your pocket, right? You're going to fight a little harder because it means more to you. And so that's the biggest thing I'd say is like, if you use realtors to negotiate for you, you're guaranteed leaving a little bit of money on the table in the negotiation, because when someone comes back to retrade, I guarantee you your realtor probably is like, they came back with 10K. We just got to take it. Or maybe we can get them down to like 7K. What you really should be able to do is like, if they came back with 10K, is a lot of times you should be able to meet in the middle at the very worst case, right? The very worst case is meet in the middle. The best case is maybe you only give them like $3,000, right? Now, obviously this depends on how much of a buyer's market or how much of a seller's market you're in and how much that person really wants the property and how bigger an issue that it actually is. But the point is, if you get the money, you take it. And a realtor a lot of times is not going to give you the money. And that's why it's important to look at the target profit, because then it tells you the real story of what's going on. You should do this for yourself, right? Now, once you kind of like understood of like what the strategy is that I'm going to actually use to sell this property, whether I'm a wholetail or wholesale it, I kind of have to make a decision. It's like, okay, cool. I'm going to wholesale this property. So what does that process look like on the back end, right? It's a little bit more simple or complicated than just like sending it out to your cash buyers list, but it's not that complicated. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take professional pictures for the listing. We want to look nice, right? If you have questions on like what specific pictures, I actually have a document at the end that I'll kind of be giving away if you guys want it on how we take our initial pictures, right? Once we take the pictures, we're going to list it with a flat fee listing service who we use Top Brokerage. If you want their websites right here, super solid. I think they're the best option. Like there's a lot of other ones, but they're just not nearly, the customer support's not nearly as good. So these guys are super great and I highly recommend working with them. That's who we use. Number 3 is going to be all the field calls coming from agents. Basically what we want to do is we want to like answer these phone calls and we're going to like field the interest for the property. So we got it listed. Now we're getting leads, right? So this is the lead generation phase. Once we're getting leads, now what we're going to do is we're going to actually collect these leads and we're going to like send them out to the property. Now that they've been sent out to the property, they're going to want to make an offer. So we get an offer from them. Usually the realtors are going to like send you a written offer, right? But you can like verbally prep them for like what the offer should look like, all that kind of stuff. So, if someone goes out the property, they saw it. Hey, I'm going to give them a call. Hey, just wanted to call and see how the walkthrough went at 123 Main Street. Okay, cool. Yeah, I talked to my buyer. I think we're going to submit an offer. Okay, cool. Like you guys talk about any specific price or terms. A lot of times they're going to beat around the bush. Here's where you can prep them on what offers you've already gotten or what they need to come in with in order to have a good chance of getting their offer accepted. So I'm always framing it. I'm not guaranteeing your offer is going to get accepted, but here's like what you need to do in order for it to get accepted. And what the realtor will do if the person really likes the property is they're going to be like, hey, if we want to get this thing accepted, here's what we need to submit. And then they're going to submit an offer that's very similar, right? Now they might change it up a little bit here and there, whatever, but you're able to pre-frame the offer. Once you collect it, great, you start negotiating. You always counter. Every time someone sends you an offer, always counter. We got tons of other offers. We got tons of other people going out to see the property. Basically, it's so early on, this thing just went live, blah, blah, blah. Use the power of your leverage in your negotiation. Get a higher price. Every time you should be able to do it. If you're not, come talk to me, right? 5th step, sign the BCXL agreement. Once we have that in place, we can line up the double closing if it's cash or conventional. And if it's FHA or VA, which is only like 10% of the deals, then you can work with Top Brokerage or your flat fee listing company to do the paperwork to help you close the deals. If you don't really know how to do it, you can message me on Instagram or join our school community and ask me in there and I'll get back to you. But we do help our clients do that stuff with all the paperwork to keep it super streamlined. How does a Wholetail strategy work? For me, it's all about the risk management in this strategy because you want to be able to take bets you can do over and over again. You never want to like lose everything, right? And so for me, it's really important that when I'm buying a house, like a lot of these, I'm thinking like about this. Let me give you an accurate answer. I think that only purchased 1 or 2 properties that we wholetailed. I think it was 2. No, I think it was 3. 3 ever out of like 50, 75. 3 ever that we wholetailed. We've ever like actually been inside of before we purchased. The rest of them, we followed a virtual process. We've only ever lost money on 2 deals and we lost $4,000 and $5,000. And both of those deals were because Open Door gave us an offer where we're going to make like 80 grand or 100 grand. And so we took them down to do the process and they backed out right before closing. And it was kind of a fringe deal anyways. And we're like, we'll take the chance because it's like worth it. And that chance paid off a lot of times. That chance didn't pay off. So it was a gamble we were going to take. But other than that, we've never lost money on a deal because we always follow these certain steps. It's very important. So number 1, we're going to get an inspection report to confirm nothing major is wrong, right? One more thing that I actually should have put down that I did not is when you go and do video walkthroughs, if you're having someone boots on the ground, go do it. FaceTime them after and like teach them all the things they need to look out for. So like foundation cracks, they need to look for settling. They need to look for like, is there anything weird with the house? Anything that makes the layout of the house look weird? The room small? Like tell me about the house. Like, did you feel good when you were walking through? Like, how'd you feel? Like we're basically positioning these guys to go through, like you're going to buy the house, right? Like, how'd you feel in it? Like go in there, like you're going to buy it. Like what's your feedback? How's the kitchen? How's the layout of the master? All these things like really are important for selling to a retail buyer because that's what they care about at the end of the day. They care about the master bedroom, they care about the kitchen, they care about the living room. And then is there a nice yard, right? All these different things. These are the things that retail buyers care about. So those are the things we're going to be talking to the person who we FaceTime at the property after they're walk through it, did all the pictures, all that kind of stuff. Talk to them about it. Like, how does it feel? How big are the rooms? Blah, blah, blah. And then that helps us know with the inspection report if there's anything major, and we're able to confirm our underwriting estimates and create a worst case profit scenario. I think this is very important because when you get all this information, is you actually use it, which is crazy, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to make a worst case profit scenario. So if I think that, let's say the house, worst case, best case, and likely case is what I'm going to do. Worst case, it makes me $30,000. Likely case, it makes me 50. Best case, it makes me like 70 because I think I could justify this price. So that's going to give me my margin. Am I comfortable with where the market is right now, that we're in spring, we're going up in the market, it's not going down. We got a real estate pro president. Like there's a lot of factors that are on real estate side. Like right now, if I'm deciding right this moment in 2025, January 28th, that are good for me. I could take a downside risk of 30K and I could be okay with that. Now, do I want that to be my likely case scenario? No. But if things go wrong, like maybe let's say for whatever reason, I'm completely off on my thesis of selling this property, I'm okay with that. And I've had that happen. I've had worst case scenarios come true. I've also had best case scenarios come true. So, that's why we make them. We learn from our mistakes, learn from our wins. So once I do that, I understand if the risk is worth it for me, if I'm comfortable with that risk. If I'm not, dude, we passed up actually on a $100,000 deal once. It would have been a $100,000 deal because the market was getting shaky. It was right around, I think it was like purchased in like April, May. I think it was purchased in May 2022, which is right when the market started getting shaky. And I was like, I don't really like the way the market is right now. We were buying it, whatever. It sold for like $120,000 more than what we were buying it at. So we would have made, it sold for 500 something. So it was a higher price home. So we would have made like, let's call it 85, right? Now that's hindsight. We saw that it sold right before the market dropped. It sold right at the fucking peak, guaranteed. It just was something I passed on because I was like, dude, there's comps that say it could be a 0 profit deal. And there's comps that say it could be a 100K deal. And I'm not really sure where it's going to land. And with the market, it's not come through. I'm not comfortable taking that risk. And I still would make the same decision, even though, yeah, it's 100 grand that we missed out on. It is what it is. So it's very important to make a risk assessed decision. And if you want to partner with someone on your first deal, one, they can help you get better terms with the private money, but it's very, very important to do that because you don't want to like lose. Right? You don't want to be a loser on the deal. You want to make money, and you gain experience too. So closing the deal with some private money or a hard money loan. If you can't come up with a down payment, it's very easy. Just borrow some money, get a second position, go get a loan from your credit card company, your bank, whatever. Be resourceful here. Partner with someone if you just can't come up with it and it's going to put you in a tight spot, whatever it might take. Number 4 is going to be clean the property out. We want to make sure the property is cleaned out. That's the first step. So we buy it. Once we close on it, there's some things you'll need to do with your private money lenders. Like you'll need to get insurance, a couple other things, but make sure you get a vacant policy because at one time I had a house burned down and we actually got full refund or full policy amount, but it was vacant. And before we were doing like fake lease policies, don't tell anyone, but we would not have gotten paid for sure. That would have been a real dumb bummer. It's like a little bit more for a vacant policy. Just make sure you get that. Number 4 is going to be make sure when you buy the house, you clean the property out, right? It's very important that you do that. Number 5 is going to be that we got to fix all the eyesores. So anything that keeps the property like from making people feel like, I don't like that, like watermark in the ceiling. It means nothing. It's a dry, non-active leak, but people get weird about that kind of stuff. And so you want to fix that, make it not be there. You want to, any holes in like the exterior, ideally you can fix the basic stuff like that, just little things. And also any things that are going to not make it financeable. So like decks not being up to code, certain things like that, you'll want to just go ahead and take care of. And you can look up all that. You'll need central heating and air too if you want to be financeable, all these different things. Once we get the property move-in ready, we're going to take professional pictures because we want new professional pictures that are like solid for this. Then we list with top brokerage because it's flat fee, right? Service, and we pay way less than if we paid a realtor, and every dollar that we negotiate matters. What we're gonna do from there is the exact same process before. We're gonna field the calls coming in from agents, get them out to the property. Those are the leads coming in. We're gonna send them out, negotiate, pre-negotiate, pre-frame the offers, negotiate and counter once they do send the offers. We're gonna sign a B2C agreement, we're gonna line up the closing. And the only downside to actually wholetailing is that you do take out FHA buyers because 90-day seasoning period. Normally you're selling these properties in about 60 total days. Like contract closed on the property in 60 days. Again, you closed again, maybe 90 days. So if you're in a slower market, maybe you get away with FHA, but in general, you're going to actually mark those people out of your deals. Unless your deal goes south, like we've had a couple times. We've had a few deals that, we've had like 56 walkthroughs at a deal and made like $6,000 when the market shifted. We were able to sell to FHA. We had another deal. We actually took like 12 grand of earnest money. 2 times people backed out like days before closing, after financing contingencies, after all the contingencies. We got their EMD twice in a row. It happened for one property. It was crazy. And then third person closed, but like we were able to take an FHA offer because those people both burned, a lot of days. So you're probably thinking a couple things at this point. It's like, why not use my local realtor to list deals? Maybe you're not. I might have hopefully got that limiting belief out. You can do it if you want, but man, I'm not as much of a fan of it. How am I supposed to find private money lenders? You might be thinking that. What if I buy my wholesale for too much and lose money? Might be wondering that. How do I pitch my MLS wholesale strategy to the seller? I gave you some basic fundamentals, but there's videos I have on that and I'll show you. How do I negotiate with a realtor? Does it take a lot longer to close? And like, do I make more money with these strategies? Like how much more money would I make? And maybe even a ton of other things. But look, like the main thing is like all these specific questions that are above that you might be thinking and any of the other ones you have is I have YouTube videos on these exact topics. And I made an entire video that literally goes over everything. It's 45 minutes. This is like the entire detailed guide to getting a novation contract signed. And it's step-by-step going through live calls to listen to the actual conversation, me breaking it down, all that kind of stuff. So like if you're not doing this right now, if you're not selling to retail buyers, the only thing that's stopping you is you. Like what got you to where you're at right now is not going to get you to the next phase. And if you want to grow, doing $10,000, $12,000 per deal will not get you to making a lot more money this year. If you want to have the most profitable business you've ever had this year, you need to be doing at least $20,000, $25,000 per deal minimum. And if you can't do that, then like truthfully, you just might need to pick a different business model, because that's the same problem you're going to run up in any business that you run. If you don't average $20,000 per deal, per client, per whatever that you sign up, it's gonna be really tough to scale and grow. So that's free. If you want access to that, I'll walk you through everything in there. If you want to get access to our step-by-step SOP doc that we use to train our team and to train everyone in our community and in our one-on-one program, then you can join my school community. It's $97. It's like one of the best investments you can do. Super worth it. Literally step-by-step doc on how to sell these deals, how to close them, basically like how to get them signed, how to find a buyer, and how to get them closed from a paperwork perspective. All that stuff's in there. Or if you just want to work with our team, so where we can hold your hand step by step through this process. We've done over 750 of these, and we could walk you through step by step. So just book a call. But like I said, these strategies work. This is not some proven or some mumbo jumbo theory. This is like real stuff that actually does work. And so like we helped Robert, just a couple weeks ago, list his first MLS deal. He's already got a full cash price offer the same day it went live. Like the market's still hot, contrary to what you think. Right? So they're closing on the 29th. I actually should message him tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Corey closed on innovation. Josh closed his first innovation deal and had his biggest month ever, 40K profit. Tim is doing a wholesale in Philly and, got connected to one of the best realtors in Philly. Now, again, I said anti-realtor. If you're going to a market that you're not familiar with, using a realtor a lot of times doesn't make a lot of sense. So if you guys have any specific questions or want to go and learn these things, all the links are down below in this video. I hope you guys found this valuable. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace. Hey guys, so really quick, I want to share some results from our recent client survey that we did, where we found that we added an additional $196,693 per year to our clients' businesses. And this isn't by telling them to go and spend tons of more money and bloat their business just to get their revenue numbers up. No, this is going through a simple 7-step process that we call the guide to growth that helps them go and make more money in their business without having to spend another dollar. All we're about. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit about what this guide to growth actually is here on my screen. All right, guys, so taking a look at the guide to growth, it's honestly super simple because all we have to do is troubleshoot in your business to find out where the actual problem is. And since we've broken it down into 7 sectors, into a wholesale business, into a manufacturing line, lead to net to appointment, appointment to offer, offer to contract, contract to sold deal, and average deal size, all we have to do is understand compared to industry standard, compared to our clients' results, where do you stack up? And then for something as simple as deal sizes, if you're not 10% of median home price, then you should be able to get it to 10% of median home price. So if it's $350,000 like in Atlanta, your average deal size should be $35,000 plus or minus a little bit. And so if you're not, we're going to identify that. We're going to come down to the guide to growth and understand where the KPI targets should be, what are the core variables, and what are some possible solutions. And we would do something like this, where we'd hand you an SOP and hold your hand and implement it with you step by step on how to buy deals for less, how to sell deals for more, and how to flip higher price point homes so that you can increase your average deal size and release your bottleneck. All we're going to be focused on is growing your company without spending another dollar. And so if this is something that you're interested in remotely at all, where we'd come into your business and show you exactly how we'd implement the guide to growth for you, then all you need to do is go down below this video, click the link to book a call with our team, where we'll walk you through step by step on our roadmap of how we grow your company utilizing our process. So if that's interesting at all, go down below this video and click the link, book a call with our team. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one.